Hello and welcome to another division video. In this video I will present you another build, a new classified set which you got from the last global event and how I set it up for PvE especially. Yeah, it's a new epoch of time, I would say, in 1.8, and the new epoch is stamina, and one of the most discussed gear sets right now, but I guess more for PvP, not for PvE. It's this one right here. Yes, I'm talking about Predator's Mark. And as you see here, 6-piece bread mark with 9k stamina. I think it's almost a classical setup, and I will go over the build and explain you why I did this, talents and changes and mods and everything else. So let's get right into the build. As I said at the beginning, I'm using this especially for PvE. I haven't tested it out that much for PvP, but as you know, in skirmish it would not work with the 9k because of the normalization, so you would have to spec even more into stamina. I don't know if it would be enough, or I did another setup, but as I said, for the moment I just tested this build out in PvE. You will see a gameplay at the end, the second part of Lexington, how I run it with this build. And yeah, for so far it's enough, and I go ahead with the build. And as usual, I'd really appreciate if you could give this video a like. It helps me a lot, and leave a comment down below if you would like to see any other things or have questions about. Don't hesitate, leave a comment down below. So the chest piece I'm using is stamina. Every gear piece is into stamina to reach 9k, and major attribute skill, haste and health and ammo capacity. Yeah, of course, you could discuss if health is useful or not, because you have already so high toughness and stamina. But yeah, for this little, let's say, enemy armor damage you could get 6%, it would be an option, or exotic damage resilience 11% as well. But for me personally, it fits much better with health at the moment. The mods I'm using is crit hit chance. I just started farming for them, so I didn't have the best ones, to be honest. You could have higher stats, of course, but crit chance and firearms here on this one. Let's go ahead to the mask. The mask I'm using, of course, I don't have to say which gear set. Pred mark with crit chance and damage to elites. As I said, it's mainly for PvE, so that's why I not spec into PvP attributes like burn resistance, bleed resistance, shock resistance or whatever. I need to have damage to elites on this one. Again, stamina, and the mod, again, a crit chance firearms mod. So quickly to go over the gear set, I think all of you know it already, but just for the ones that didn't know it, second 2-piece bonus reload speed, then 3-piece assault rifle and SMG bonus damage. The 4-piece, it's really nice, but where this set shines is especially 5 and 6-piece, of course. So 4-piece hit 10 shots without switching target to make the target bleed for 50% of damage already done by those bullets. My cursor or my controller, it's a little bit weird at the moment, sorry for this. Set bonus 5 is reload speed again, so in total 20%, it's really nice to have. And again, weapon damage 16% in total for SMG and assault rifle, and 6-piece bonus, it's really nice. So hitting 10 shots without switching targets new applies the pred mark bleed, which marks the target bleed for 50% of the damage already done by those bullets, so the same as before. The pred mark ignores the target's bleed resistance, that's a really important and nice one, of course, and the damage over time to the target is increased by 15% over for every 3000 stam, and can critically hit the target when at 9k stamina. Damage over time is increased by an additional 120% sorry. And as you see, 9k means 3 times 15%, 45% means 165% increased bleed. And that's really awesome, and let's say kinda ridiculous, but I would say more for PvP. So PvP probably needs a change, but PvE I think it's fine like it is. I told already the mod, so let's go ahead to the knees. And the stats on the knee pad is crit hit damage, then stamina and bleed shock burn resistance. Yeah, For PvE, of course, would be much better to replace one of the minor attributes for damage to elites, but for PvP this would be of course almost god roll, I would say. And as you see, alright, so far I spec'd as much as possible into crit hit chance and damage. As you could read on the 6th piece, it can critically hit the target, so that's a really nice thing. And because you have such high stam and such low firearms, you need to deal a little bit damage, and that's why I spec'd as much as possible into crit. So the backpack, stamina again, crit hit damage again on the major, and minor ammo capacity. The mods I'm using here, I didn't have another crit chance mod, so I still have to farm for one more. So that's why I use here a skill haste mod, because I didn't have anything better. And the mods prototype performance, pulse crit hit damage. As you see, I really try to increase the damage as much as possible as soon as I use the pulse. Let's go ahead to the gloves. The gloves depends which weapon I use as a main weapon. Main gun, as you see again, stam, then SMG damage, skill haste and crit hit damage. Of course, if you will go pure damage, it would be better if you have crit chance instead of skill haste. But yeah, this is what I got, and I had to reroll 2 stats, so I'm pretty happy with it. But as I said, you can increase the crit hit chance even more. And if I have a assault rifle as a primary, then I use this one here, and this is mainly for PvE. That's why I do have here enemy armor damage instead of crit hit damage, I mean. So, but as I said, this is for me mainly for PvE, and this will I use for both PvE and PvP because of crit hit damage. The last final piece, nothing special here, the holster. Again, have a look that I had the highest stat on stamina and crit hit chance again on this one here. So let's go ahead to the weapons, and you see already, yeah, I'm using the house with it. It's just too incredible not to use it, or too nice, but of course it will work with every order SMG too. So 23 crit chance on this as well, with Unforgiving and Deadly. Pretty nice stats, I would say, and pretty nice roll. I personally would prefer to have Responsive instead of Unforgiving, but I will not complain. Pretty happy with it, and I'm still farming for another one with Responsive and Deadly. It's just, yeah, too good, these talents to have. As a secondary, I use a lightweight M4 for PvE mainly. As I said, 24 enemy armor damage. The damage is a little bit lower because I do have now the SMG damage gloves, which increase the damage of death and cheese. That's why this is a little bit lower. And on this one I use Predatory, Destructive, Responsive. It's a really nice roll, as I said, especially for PvE. It works pretty well. And yeah, one thing, although you have that high amount of stamina, I think you need a source of healing. And in this patch, one of the best weapon talents in my opinion, especially for PvE, or definitely for PvE, is Predatory. As you see, killing a target with chance, 35% health over 20 seconds means your health pool is really large. So here, let's quickly check. On this one, my health is 400,000 health, and 35%, a third, means about 30,000. 135,000 I get back from Predatory, so that's quite a lot over time. So that's why I really like this talent now, not only for PvE, not only for tactician builds, even for this one for PvE. It works really nice. I think the mods I don't have to go over it in depth. I use crit chance, crit damage mods wherever I can, of course, because yeah, it's a crit build. And quickly to go over the stats now with my SMG. Weapon damage, as you see, 47.50% without pulse, so that's pretty nice. 60% is the cap. And crit damage 117%. Yeah, I do not have a muscle with crit damage. I went for a one with a crit chance because I want really to increase the crit chance as much as possible. And yeah, I get even more if I use the pulse, of course. Let's go to the pulse later and abilities part. Damage to elites, it's really nice to have, of course, on my gear. I'm missing the one on the knee pads, could be higher. Skills, yeah, I don't focus that much on skills on this one. so that's why I don't care too much about this one, and I showed you already the survivability part. I can show you quickly the stats for my AR and change quickly to my AR gloves. It looks like this with my assault rifle, 17.50% crit chance, so even lower, and crit damage 81% is without pulse, as I said before, and 19.2, almost 0.2k damage with my assault rifle with just about 4k as firearms. I would say it's not that bad. So let's go to the abilities. The abilities I'm using is the recon pack. And the main reason for this one is at the moment, yeah, in the dark zone to find the cache and the division tag more easy and to see if it's still there, because yeah, many people are farming div tag to increase or maximize the builds, and that's the main one reason. And the other reason is because the shortest cooldown. So because I want to max out my crit chance damage as much often as possible, yeah, I have to cooldown 30 seconds, so it's pretty nice, and I have a crit chance 10% and crit damage 14% increase, which means with my SMG almost at the max, with a 57 crit chance and 117, 131 crit damage. That's pretty nice, and yeah, I think it worked for me at least. I use, especially in the dark zone, this one here, support station immunizer, just when I fight against cleaners or have to handle some grenades with shock grenades and so on, to be immune against this, and of course if I blew it up, to have a little bit of a heal as well. As I'm usually run solo, I have the recovery link, of course. If you run in a group, run whatever you like and test what works for you. If I have an encounter in PvP, I switch sometimes to the shock turret. Yeah, I'm be true, I'm be fair, I do use shock turret as well, because yeah, mainly you don't fight 1v1, and then you have a bit more control. And talents I'm using on this one is a new one, Adrenaline. It gets a change in 1.8. Yeah, now you have gives a 7-second immunity from status effects, so that's awesome. That's awesome for both PvE and PvP. For PvE, if you fight against cleaners and you get burned, that's really annoying, especially if you don't have that much burn resistance. Then just pop a medkit and you have 7 seconds time to clear these guys out. And yeah, 7 seconds is a pretty long time. So Adrenaline, really a nice talent now in 1.8 in my opinion. Crit save, nothing new. It's a pretty nice talent. And Strike Back to get the skills a bit back faster when I'm in low health. And especially one which is a must-have, really a must-have for Predator's mark is Shrapnel. To apply bleed effect to any target triggers a 30% chance to trigger this in a radius of 10 meters. So that works pretty well, and it's a must-have, as I said, with Predmark. If you run in a group, of course, I would switch out Adrenaline with Combat Medic, but that's it for the talent as well, and for the build. So at the end I said, oh, that happened many things around me. As I said, you will see a gameplay now at the end where I'm running the second part of Lexington, and you see how this works in PvE. If you're wondering and will see the route I go for DivTech, then just let me know in the comment section and I will upload a video about this as well if you're interested. So, but for this, thanks a lot for watching, have fun farming, and see you in the next one. Bye bye!
This is about taking the Rikers out at the knees. There's no one who can replace Lorraine Barrett. She's the one who organized the escape to Manhattan.
They're holding 3 of my people there. If you can get them out before blowing the lid off, I'd be grateful.
All right. Get them out first, but don't jeopardize the mission. We're going in on your heels. The jailbreak ends here.
Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
I'll smell you out. Hide your ass. Let's go. Gonna waste you. I'm done.
Warning. Additional hostiles inbound.
You're a lifesaver. I was sure they were gonna kill me just like the others.
Active echo beacon detected. Readings indicate this area is safe.
Agent, the hostage is being held on the roof. You need to clear it out.
Warning. You are now leaving the safe area.
You know what you got. Thanks for the rescue. I was a dead man. They were pretty good.
Negative, Ramos. We've got this. Find a secure position and hunker down.
And that's an order, Sergeant.
Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
Heard about Ramos, Captain. Glad we reached him in time.
Thanks for that. My people are getting into position to breach the hull. Agent, you're gonna want to unlock the maintenance access. The building blueprints show a security control room down in the basement.
Now entering a safe area. Warning. Now leaving the safe area.
Hey, I used to work here. 149 Fifth Ave.
Warning. Additional hostiles inbound. Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
Fuck you!
So far, so good. My strike squads are moving in. They'll breach the main hull on your signal.
Well, ain't this some shit? Thought you might have had the good sense to stay away, but I see you coming to meet your maker. I see you begging for the This time, I ain't stopping this one. kill me. Just one more dead black body on the pile, right? Just numbers to you. So blind, all of you.
Warning. Incoming hostiles detected.
Go on, motherfucker. You can kill me. But you can't kill us all. We a river. We a river. Damn you all.
I'm impressed.